Welcome back to the Hawks Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter. I'm Russ Howard. He, of course, is Coach Craig Slaughter. Coach, let's start off talking about this most recent game. I think, in my mind, maybe not in yours, but in my mind, I think this was the toughest test so far.
Oh, for sure. Those guys, I don't know if we had the kids' full attention from they were playing extremely improved from week 1 to week 6, where we saw them playing very confidently as they had throttled a really good shallow water team, the week before. And, of course, we wrote the script, unfortunately, for letting those guys feel like they're in that game. We fumbled, obviously, that opening kickoff right off the bat, that they go up 7-0. And, of course, at halftime, it's tied up, so, you're definitely we did not do ourselves any favors with how we started that game.
Right. Well, let me tell you this and go with this, because I didn't tell you I was going to say this, but kind of catch you a little bit off guard maybe. But I will tell you this, from my perspective, having seen all 6 games, obviously, in person and remotely, the one thing I've noticed, the one thing that sticks out in my mind is how this coaching staff makes exceptional adjustments, especially at halftime. You guys come out of halftime, and no matter what it is in that first half that's gone wrong, especially this last game, you guys came out and just absolutely, whatever y'all said at halftime.
No, I hope we do a good job, on our part. Some of it's motivation on the kids, like, are we fully engaged? And to be honest, we talked, the good things come out of those competitive games. There was a formation that we were playing well, and I missed it the first couple of times. It was an ineligible 5 skill guys to one side of the formation, which you just don't see much. We had prepared for empty. Well, it was empty 5 guys over, and we were kind of outnumbered a couple of times. And when we got those kids lined up to it better, the second half was absolutely defensive, domination. They had that one last, 23-yard drive, whatever it was, but no, it was, I was, again, I love when the kids have to respond, because so many times, it's you show up, you kind of assert your dominance, throughout that first, second quarter.
Right.
And, so it was great that was a 4-quarter game, that we had to respond. We were down 7-0. We tied at 7-0, down 14-7, tied it back, and we scored, obviously, 28 unanswered against a really good team. So I thought that part was awesome. We still, writing the script for not good ball, though, losing 3 turnovers to 0, was definitely, that's not on the bingo card for big games going forward. That's
right.
That's not good football.
Right. Well, but regardless, I mean, I saw it at Sweetwater. I saw it, obviously the other games were well in hand going to halftime, but, the Sweetwater game and this game, that coaching staff, y'all made some, from my perspective, great adjustments.
I hope so. Again, also credit the depth of that team. We probably stay fresher than most teams, and things like that. I mean, I'm, and again, proud of those defensive guys, the job they do. But, our kids, they're winners, they compete, and they're just, their DNA is to go perform at a high level. And again, I made it very clear at halftime, I was not impressed with how we, just some of the mental mistakes,
Yeah.
And again, we talked today, there's times we're going to get our tail blocked off, or there's going to be, like, if we're in great coverage and a kid makes a catch like Reed did the other night, there's nothing we can do about that. You just play the next play, but when we're not mentally absolutely engaged, because that ought to be one of our strengths. We have amazing, smart, talented kids. If we're max engaged, you're really going to have to work to move the ball on us for sure.
Yeah. Well, regardless, very great performance there in the second half. Yeah. First quarter was a little shaky, but after that, I mean, great performance. And so we're going to kind of flip the script for just a moment, but a game like this, does that set you up well going into district play, where you're challenged, it's not just a blowout?
Looking back, I know there's not questions, but at times you may have wished the schedule was a little more loaded than it was. But like Idalou, they climbed into the top 10 today with that loss. That's solid. They were number 6 in the Harris poll last week. Brownwood is 3-3. Jim Ned's ranked number 4 in 3A Division 1. So again, when you look back on it, I think that schedule is going to be just fine. I think at times we're making some of those teams look like that they're not as strong as they are. But those first 6 games, again, we're relatively healthy as you can be this time of year. We're 6-0, and I think we're prepared for the next phase, and then that district phase will prepare you for all those games hopefully you have after that.
Right. Well, so let's talk some individual performances real quick. So obviously, Landon, a couple of touchdowns. He did have a pick. but still completed almost 66% of his passes,
300 yards.
over 300 yards. Yeah, so
productive.
what a season he's having so far.
Oh, no.
Following up last year's great season.
No, that's what, again, you very much knew what you had in that kid coming back. And again, Landon will be the first to tell you there's a throw or two that we know he's going to hit most of the time. The past couple of weeks, that he's just put it out of somebody's reach, and because he's really close. When he hits some of those shots, that offense is going to explode.
Yeah.
And then you're taking the top off of it. But Landon is absolutely just consistently doing great things.
Yeah. So you mentioned missed a couple of deep throws. Oh man, there was two that, if I remember correctly, there was two that I saw that I was about to have a conniption on the air because the receiver, I think one was Reed.
One was Kellen.
Yeah, that's right.
Alonzo Holm had done a little motion and a little vertical switch, and Kellen popped free. And again, good pocket. Atlanta again just overshot it. Then the other one was a fake screen. We actually had Jagger and Evan. You had either side. And he happened to just look to his left. And again, just another one that If one of our worries is Landon, I'm not too worried.
Yeah, no.
I know what that kid can do.
You know what he can put out there, and he's just followed up a phenomenal 24 with an exceptional 25. So, and then of course Brady Neal just picking up those tough yards, 70 yards on the ground. I'm sure he'd like more carries, but sometimes the flow of the game just takes you another direction.
And again, I last week I kind of harped on Brady. We thought at times he was a little either impatient or leaning too far forward. I thought Brady ran awesome the other night, and again, credit to the old line, but Brady was letting that stuff open up. He was, hit. I thought he was reading the defense correct and hitting where he should have hit. I thought that was a very good performance, including a couple of catches where Landon, that's really good quarterback play. Didn't like it down the field, checked it down, and I know one of those was Tariq, but I think Brady had two of those also, where he got a first down, just to check down, go get it yourself, and that's good football.
Yeah, and of course Reed Robertson. Another 100-yard game, averaging on the season 21 yards a catch.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
No, yeah, he's a big play waiting to happen. He's a freak show like he was last year, and we're proud of what he's doing.
That line you've told me a number of times. I use it on the air all the time. Even when he's covered, he's not covered.
Oh no, yeah, that's that if I was a defensive coach for Idalou, I would pause the film and move my kid right where he was. But it was a perfect throw. Just Reed made a freak show catch, and again, it wasn't even. Our sideline was excited, but it's not like, oh dang, I haven't seen that before.
We've seen it.
Yeah, that dude, he just makes those plays.
Yeah, he does. And then, so the one play that I thought absolutely set the tone in that second half, and it was a special teams play. Kellen Oliver's punt return, dude, where he trucked number 21. He just absolutely obliterated him.
Is running insane physical. We were like, man, sometimes we wish he was like, hey, you've done all you can, step out of bounds. And that, that dude is, he's chomping at the bit. He's dishing some punishment at him, and not just last week. All of his returns were just, Lord, they were violent. In a great way.
Yeah.
So
we were laughing on the air because I think we ran the replay a couple of times because it was just so awesome that he could have stepped out of bounds and he just. Knocked it back a good 3 or 4 yards.
That screen pass that got called back.
Oh yeah,
Lord, he had one right on our sideline. Yeah, he's dishing out some punishment.
Yeah, he is, and then he's at 71 yards receiving, and then also Jagger Thompson, 3 catches, 50 yards. He had a great game too.
Yeah, no, he filled in for Hagan. Hagan kind of had a little shoulder injury there. Again, there's so many weapons in that stable that that are gonna. Some weeks get more opportunities than others, and Jagger's one of those that could easily have 100+ any game, or could have 2 catches for 25 yards. It just depends how much the ball finds him and kind of what the game script looks like.
And I know we talk about this all the time, but the depth at that wide receiver position is unbelievable.
And then I'm telling you, Gavin Sisson would be a really good wideout if we needed somebody. For us, he plays defense. Levi King would be a good weapon, if we needed him. It's just, there's an abundance of weapons there for sure.
Yeah, I got you. Now let's transition over to the defense for a minute, because really, after a little bit of a shaky first quarter, they really turned it on in that second half.
Yeah.
Who was I was trying to think of?
Dylan Sellers.
Yeah, Dylan had. I know we mention him all the time, but what an incredible game.
Oh, hey. 11 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. And just absolute disruptor. They actually scored their first 2 drives, which doesn't happen to us much. I'm still mad it does. But I think we had 6 or 7 stops in a row, when we were really kind of took control of that game. And again, it's all those pieces working together. There was nowhere to throw. The rush was good. We, didn't quite have the night tackling, but some of that quarterback and that running back, that they were what we thought they were. That they're gonna win some of those matchups too. But very proud overall of the team performance for sure.
So again, and the other thing is the pressure on quarterbacks.
Oh,
team sacks, 7 sacks.
Yes, no, 7 sacks is incredible. And again, I don't know exactly. At least 2 or 3 of those were 3-man rush. That's 8 guys in coverage. There's just nowhere to go with the ball. It was basically sometimes either a sack or a good chance of an INT. Because there's some of those I wish the ball would come out because it's probably going to come our way. Because we're never happy when we give up 21 or when we force no turnovers. And those were 2 things that happened the other night.
Yeah, and despite trailing for the first time this season, still rebounded nicely. Of course, Jacob Braden also another great game. I mean, I know we talk about him and Dylan all the time, but I mean, they just show up.
Braden and Hallmark.
That was the other one. Yes,
Hallmark. Hallmark is an absolute. A game in space like that, dude, he's going to show up all the time. I don't worry about him, but that is much that plays to his strengths as opposed to a wishbone double tight, running the ball downhill. And again, football nowadays is that type of game. Yeah. Slayton is absolutely just so athletic and in space, boy, he just shows up.
Yeah. Well, great win all the way around. I mean, special teams again. Tyler Kleinsmith, 5 of 5. I mean, really. I didn't realize this until this week, and I don't know why. He's a sophomore. I thought he was a junior, but I looked at the roster. He's still young. I mean,
he actually cut his chops last year when we lost Stansbury. TK was a freshman again that drove to Sweetwater, not thinking any way in the world he'd step foot in that game. In first quarter, he's out there kicking a PAT that actually the ball that Lane caught. And so I think I'm sure that kind of opened his eyes. I know this summer he went to a couple of kicking camps, and because I'm gonna be honest, I don't put it through the crossbar, dude. I'm not the kicking guy, but he's cash money, and just that whole operation again, Gunnar King to Evan Bailey, to that protection, they've done great. And again, the other night we've talked about the punt game. There was one time we traded 3 and outs and we won 26 yards field position, because of their lack of punter and our outstanding punt game. So that's some of that hidden yardage that is just amazing.
Yeah. So incredible win, incredible night. Let's go to break. We got a special coming up for you after the break. We're gonna sit down and talk with Levi King. You don't want to miss that. And then after that, Coach Slaughter and I'll come back and we'll talk about next week's opponent and the Star District play. You're watching the Hawk Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter, brought to you by Texas Bank.
At Texas Bank, we believe in the power of relationships. Our roots are our customers, the lifeblood of our business. We're more than just a bank. We're your trusted financial partner, committed to building lasting connections and providing personalized service that exceeds your expectations. From helping you achieve your financial goals to supporting you through life's changes, we're here for you every step of the way. Experience the difference of banking with people who truly care.
Welcome back to the Hawk Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter. And on this segment, we have a very special guest, Levi King. Levi, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. So great season so far, doing great things. I have to ask you this, kind of an odd question, but which do you prefer? Because you play both ways. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer playing O or D?
I mean, I got to say defense. I mean, I'm a defensive starter, and, I've played it since junior year, so.
Yeah. Yep. So what is playing... Would you consider yourself cornerback, safety,
corner?
Mm-hmm. So what is the hardest thing about playing? I mean, do y'all play mostly zone, man? Do y'all mix it up?
We've played zone a lot ever since I've been to Wall. And this year I think we've tried to go a little bit more man than we have been. But I think man is definitely a lot harder to do. But, zone I'm more comfortable in, and I've been doing that kind of my whole football career, so.
Yeah, so far you're having a great season. I have to talk about the pick six. What was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Sweetwater.
Yeah. What was going through your mind when you were out there? Basically, it looked like you were the intended receiver because there's really nobody within 5-10 yards of you. What was going through your mind when you saw the ball? Was like, don't drop this, don't drop this, don't drop this?
I mean, I was just locked in on it. I knew that the defense had a great pass rush, and they gave him pressure. And, I kind of rerouted the receiver, and it was straight to me. So I was just thinking, oh, no, hopefully I don't get smoked in the back. I didn't know where that receiver went.
Right.
So I was kind of ready for him. But you know, I caught it and I just looked, and we had blockers in a straight line down the field, and I mean, a lot of emotions. You know, homecoming night. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. So yeah, way to show up, show out there on homecoming with
Sure.
with everybody lined up on the rails. That's one of the coolest things about games out here. But going forward, so you guys getting ready to enter district play. You're 5-0 or 6-0, excuse me, 6-0. Probably the two toughest games if you look on paper coming up. What are your thoughts going into the Merkel game this week?
Merkel, I mean, you know we have better athletes and we're the superior team overall. But you know, you're never gonna underestimate a team. You're never gonna look down on them. Play one game at a time, and you know, you do good, you move on.
Yep.
Okay.
So really looking forward to that, and then of course, and trying not to look too far ahead, but
Right.
you know, then obviously you got Coahoma the week after Merkel in Coahoma. That's going to be a tough out
In
too.
Coahoma, yep. We've heard of some talk of Coahoma. You know, they're a little better team than they have been. So you know, we're preparing for them.
Yep. So with all of that said, is it tough as you get later into the season? Is it tough to maintain as a team to maintain that same intensity, that same focus, or is it something that you guys have said, no, we're not playing this game. We are going to stay focused the rest of this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, as you go through the season, you know, you're opening your first game, your first scrimmages, you're hyped, you're just ready to hit someone, you know. And as you go through the season, you know, practice becomes a little bit longer every time, and you know, things just get harder and harder. But I think that as a leader of this team, you know, one thing that our seniors are trying to do is just make sure everyone has that same intensity every practice. You know, we got to come out here. We know that we have a big goal in the end, and you know, we got to keep that intensity to maintain that.
Yeah. Yep. So one thing that, and we'll kind of close this segment with this, but one thing that's kind of overlooked, I think, is your special teams ability.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people talk about the coverage skills, a little bit of offensive skills.
Right.
What's your mindset coming off the sideline? Okay, we didn't pick up that first down because it hasn't been a lot this season.
Right.
But what's your mindset having to come on the field, and do the punting thing?
I mean, we do special teams a lot. We practice that with Coach Holscher. You know, he's great at it. So we're constantly practicing that after practice, and it's good practice. You know, everybody knows their job, they knows their assignment. So we come out, and I know that I just have to perform, get the ball off, and I know the rest of my team will do their job. You know.
Yep. Well, Levi, I appreciate you joining us on the Coaches Show.
So
Looking forward to Merkel. Looking forward to being back home again because we only got 2 home games left. That's what
Yeah.
I mean in the regular season. That's what kind of sucks right now.
it does.
Yeah. So anyway, we're looking forward to it. Good luck this weekend and or this Friday night. We'll see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Stay tuned to the Coaches Show with Coach Slaughter. We'll be back after this.
See friendship being
Welcome back to the Wall Hawk Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter, brought to you by Texas Bank. So, Coach, non-district's over, 6 games out of the way, 6-0. Now comes, I don't want to say the real season, but the season that will determine playoffs. So, we go into, or Merkel comes there, excuse me. Talk to me a little bit about the Badgers.
You know, hey, last year 0-6. Again, new coach. They were kind of finding their way, whatever. Credit to them. This year 5-1. So they're, and you can tell just playing with way more confidence. They definitely know who they are better. They're a big quick screen team, RPO team. Get the ball out of his hands. Again, very impressed with just the improvement they've made from where they were last year to where they are this year.
Yeah. So I was looking at, obviously it's stuff on paper on the screen. You really don't know until you see them in person. But that quarterback, exceptional. Yeah, Malone.
Yeah.
And then from what you look at on stats, again, stats can lie, but they seem to be fairly evenly matched with the Hawks.
That's what they're, again, credit to the wins they've got. I really think these next 4 ball games, our strength of schedule, will really show up. And again, loaded roster, strong program. We knew we could push ours against some teams that some people probably don't necessarily think that they would want to play. But again, for us, I really think you'll see the strength of that schedule show itself, with some of these games coming up.
Yeah. So, looking at the stats, Merkel has 3 guys that can carry the ball, and then 4 really good receivers. From what it says on stat sheet, if you had a concern about Merkel, what would be that concern?
The one thing they do good is they get the ball in space on the perimeter, and they have had a ton of yak. Those passing stats, it's not vertical shots, it's not down the field football for the most part. It's an RPO slant window, or it's a tunnel screen like that we ran to Reed. And those guys have done a great job of making a 10-yard throw, a 50-yard throw. So that's what obviously it's great tackling work anyway, which perimeter tackling will have a long way to determining how good we are, in games ahead. So, they'll definitely challenge us on the perimeter.
Yeah. Well, we've done good this year. I mean, you mention all the time, it's all about getting people in space. We talked a couple weeks ago about the wishbone and compared to the spread offense, getting people in space, et cetera, et cetera. So would this be an accurate statement that we're going to have to wrap up and tackle on the initial hit?
For sure. No, that's what they because again, when that ball's in the perimeter, the one advantage of that space is a lot of times it's one dude. When it's that 3-yard cloud of dust, mud bowl, there's sometimes 10 bodies in there. Out here, a lot of times it's one, you got to limit the space that kid has to work, and then 2, you have to come to balance, and all the tackling things that we talk and teach all the time, show up hopefully, in those space tackles.
Yeah. So moving forward, this is the second to the last home game in the regular season. So if you haven't been out here, you need to get out here and see this game. We like you watching online, but when it's at home, come here and then watch the replay later. So as the season begins, I hate to say it this way, but we're over halfway through the season.
Hey, we were talking, August 4th, was the day this journey started, and it's whatever it is, October. I should know. I don't know what day it is.
October 6th.
Okay, October 6th. But again, if you're as good a team as there is, you're that halfway point, and it's dude, it's wrapping up. I mean, it's no time, and each time you take the field is a blessing, and you hope all those kids are all having a great experience and playing their tail off when they get a chance. But no, I mean it's real, it's here, and I'm looking. These games are going to lead to those bigger games ahead. Because again, I'll always say our kids, they respond best when that challenge is real. When next week you may not be coming back to do it again. That's when I think our kids play at their at their max. So we're just building to that point.
Yep. So obviously I come out here every Monday, some Tuesdays, depending on how work schedule goes. But I've noticed throughout the season, I think it's our 7th episode, I don't know what it is, 6th episode of the Coaches Show. But I watch, and the practices still look very crisp. They haven't tailed off to lackadaisicalness. It just seems that the kids are still being very crisp and still into this.
Again, I credit to them, man. We're mission focused, and again, like today could have easily been just not your best. We kind of shortened it down. Just it is 6 games, 2 scrimmages with no off week. We kind of shortened today by about 20 minutes. But I have no problem with the work they're doing. I bragged on them this morning in the weight room. I thought we had a great weight room session this morning. And again, sometimes at 6:30 in the morning, that's you don't feel like if they're that engaged. But that was awesome. I mean, I really was. It fired me up. I feel so much better about where we're at now. What we showed Friday night was some of that toughness and that resiliency, and when it didn't go your way, how they worked this morning. And again, I really think we have better days ahead because we can play a little cleaner, and I don't mind that because you're not going to play up here for 16 games. It just doesn't work like that.
Right.
Right. Again, if you're a golfer, just because you birdie the first 3 holes, you're not fixing to birdie the rest of them. There's some ebbs and valleys, and you hope that you're climbing to where you're going to perform. And because we know there's some better football in there, and I trust our process. I trust how the kids have responded and how they've worked, and I think you'll see it when it matters most.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to district play and looking forward again to being back home. I tell you, calling the game at home is a whole heck of a lot better than trying to do it off a monitor.
That's what, man, that last road trip, I'd never been to Idalou in my life. That was a little different. You wake up and like, where are we? And it's like Snyder, we still got, hour and 30 minutes or whatever. So I'm glad to be back at home myself.
Yeah. Well, Coach, good luck this week.
Appreciate it.
District play starts, and then hopefully 4 wins. We get to the playoffs, and go from there.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Hawk Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter, brought to you by Texas Bank. I'm Russ Howard. Again, don't forget, this Friday night here at home in this very stadium, right where we sit. Come on out, pack the stands, pack the railings. We look forward to seeing you. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.
At Texas Bank, we believe in the power of relationships. Our roots are our customers, the lifeblood of our business. We're more than just a bank. We're your trusted financial partner, committed to building lasting connections and providing personalized service that exceeds your expectations. From helping you achieve your financial goals to supporting you through life's changes, we're here for you every step of the way. Experience the difference of banking with people who truly care.